You've been searching everywhere for what was never anywhere but here. You've tried harder, pushed further, forced more. Willpower, discipline, grinding through resistance. And there are moments where it works, where sheer force moves things forward. But underneath the effort, something always feels slightly off, like you're rowing upstream, like the current is working against you instead of with you. Here is the core truth Charles Haanel discovered over a century ago in 1912, one that remains hidden to most. The power you've been trying to generate from the outside already lives within you, not as potential waiting to be unlocked through the right technique or the right mindset hack, as a living, active, creative force. The same force that organized the universe into existence, expressing itself through your individual consciousness right now. You are made in the image and likeness of Spirit, and Spirit's only activity is the power to think, which means every thought you think is a creative act. Not sometimes, not when you're in the right state, every single time. The question was never whether you have access to creative power. The question is whether you recognize what's already operating within you, because recognition is the only condition for its activation. Humanity has wrestled with one question longer than almost any other. Where does evil come from? If God is love and God is everywhere, then where is the space for darkness to exist? The answer Haanel arrives at is quieter than you'd expect, and more personal. Evil isn't a separate force with its own power and agenda. It's not a dark entity competing with the light. It's what happens when the creative power of thought is directed destructively instead of constructively. Good and evil aren't two opposing armies. They're two directions the same creative force can flow. When thought flows toward benefit, toward building, toward harmony, we call the result good. When thought flows toward destruction, toward discord, toward harm, we call the result evil. Same creative power, different direction. Which means the origin of everything in your life, the good and the painful, traces back to one source, the quality and direction of your thinking. The spirit of a thing is that thing, fixed, changeless, eternal. The spirit of you is you, not your body, which changes constantly, not your circumstances, which shift, not your feelings, which come and go. The spirit of you is the unchanging, eternal core that's been present through every version of your life. And this spirit doesn't become powerful through effort. It becomes active through recognition. You could possess every resource in the world and never benefit from a single one if you didn't recognize it was yours to use. The same is true of your spiritual inheritance. The greatest creative power in existence is already operating within you. But if you don't recognize it, it might as well not exist. This is the scepter of power, consciousness. And thought is its messenger, constantly shaping the invisible into the visible, the formless into form, the potential into the actual. This is why thinking is the true business of life. Not working harder, not pushing more, thinking correctly. Because those who understand this principle, those who recognize their creative power and use it deliberately, become the architects of their own reality. And those who don't recognize it, they work endlessly in service of those who do, not as punishment, as the natural result of the law operating exactly as it always does. Here's where most people get it wrong. They think force is power. They think grinding harder, pushing through resistance, and bending circumstances through sheer willpower is how things get done. And willpower can move things temporarily. It's not without value. But here's the problem. When you try to coerce the creative principle through force of will alone, you're placing your individual strength against something infinite. You're the finite trying to overpower the infinite. And the infinite doesn't lose that contest. It's like trying to redirect a river with your bare hands. You might disturb the surface temporarily, but the river continues exactly where it was always going. The creative principle underlying everything is the same way. It doesn't bend to force. It responds to alignment. Which means your real work isn't generating more willpower. It's learning to align your thinking with the universal principle already operating within you. To cooperate with it instead of fighting it. To move with the current instead of against it. Because when you're moving with it, when your thought is aligned with the creative principle, things that seemed impossible begin happening with an ease that surprises you. Not because you finally forced hard enough, because you stopped fighting what was always on your side. There's something happening every time you breathe that most people never notice. Not just oxygen entering your lungs, something subtler, something that connects you in this moment, through this breath, to every living thing that has ever existed. And you've been doing it unconsciously your entire life. Every breath you take is an opportunity most people never consciously use. The ancient understanding, shared across traditions that had no contact with each other, is that the air we breathe carries more than physical nourishment. It carries what some called pranic energy, cosmic vitality, the life force that animates everything alive. Every time you breathe with conscious intention, aware of what you're actually drawing in, you make a connection with all life, all intelligence, all substance. Not metaphorically, as a literal, scientific reality. Because you are not separate from the principle governing the universe. You live within it, move within it, have your entire being within it. And it lives within you just as completely. The only difference between the universal spirit and your individual spirit is one of degree. Not kind, not quality, degree. Like a single wave is not different in nature from the ocean it rises from. The wave is not the ocean, but it's made of exactly the same substance, expressing exactly the same nature, operating by exactly the same laws. This is your relationship to universal mind. And when you genuinely grasp this, not just intellectually, but emotionally, deeply, in your bones, something opens. Inspiration begins flowing from within instead of being desperately sought from without. Ideas arrive. Solutions appear. The path forward reveals itself, not through force, but through receptivity. Because inspiration isn't something you generate, it's something you receive when you've created the inner conditions that allow it. Silence, stillness, senses quieted, muscles relaxed, a genuine poise and openness. In that state, the infinite wisdom available to you through your connection to universal mind becomes accessible. But thought alone isn't enough to open that channel fully. Feeling must be added. Thought without feeling is cold, inert, like a seed without moisture. It has potential, but cannot germinate. When thought is combined with genuine feeling, with emotional resonance, with the living warmth of real desire, it becomes the irresistible combination that sets the creative process fully in motion. This week, go into the silence. Find a quiet space, still your senses, relax your body completely, cultivate genuine repose, and concentrate with full absorption on this single truth. In Him we live and move and have our being is not poetry. It is literally, scientifically exact. You exist because He exists. If He is truly omnipresent, present everywhere without exception, then He must be fully present within you, right now, in this moment. If He is all in all, then you must exist within Him just as completely as He exists within you. He is spirit, and you are made in His image and likeness, which means the only difference between His spirit and yours is one of degree, not kind, not quality, degree alone. A part must be the same in kind and quality as the whole it comes from. Let this become real to you, not a concept to understand, but a reality to inhabit. When you can genuinely feel this, not just think it, something shifts permanently. You've found the secret of the creative power of thought. You've found the origin of both good and evil. You've found the key to concentration, to inspiration, to the solution of every problem, physical, financial, environmental. Not because you forced your way to understanding, because you recognized what was always, already true. The greatest power in existence isn't somewhere you haven't been yet. It isn't locked behind a level of achievement you haven't reached. It isn't reserved for people more spiritual, more disciplined, or more deserving than you. It already lives within you. It has been there, operating quietly through every version of your life. The only thing that was ever missing was recognition. And recognition doesn't require force. It doesn't require willpower or grinding effort. It requires stillness. Genuine thought combined with genuine feeling. A conscious breath taken with the awareness of what you're actually connected to. The willingness to stop fighting the current and align with the infinite creative principle already flowing through you. Because you were made in the image and likeness of that principle, not as a metaphor, as a scientific, spiritual fact. And when you live from that recognition, when you think from that place, breathe from that place, create from that place, what comes through you will reflect the nature of what you're connected to. Not sometimes, always. If this opened something real in you, leave a like. Subscribe for all 24 parts. In the comments, what would change in your life if you genuinely recognized the creative power already living within you? Be specific. Share this with someone still forcing their way toward what's already available through alignment. The greatest power already lives within you. It always has. Scroll 21 next. Until then, recognize what's already there.